So first and foremost, what is growth hacking? And about me, why am I qualified to talk to you about it? So I've been doing digital marketing for the last 12 years. I've worked with companies from Salesforce, Mint, and multiple Fortune 500 companies, as well as startups and all companies with all types of budgets and all types of sizes. I'm the co-founder of Content Marketer and Narrow, and I also wrote the book 100 Days of Growth, which is 100 different growth hacking tactics to help you grow and launch your company. So first and foremost, what is growth hacking? I think it's a buzzword. What does it mean? So Sean Ellis puts it very nicely. A growth hacker is a person whose true north is growth. Everything they do is scrutinized by its potential impact on scalable growth. I think of growth hacking slightly differently. To me, growth hacking isn't marketing, nor should it replace it. Growth hacking is really a mindset. It's a fast-paced, no bullshit, data-driven, actionable approach to capitalizing on opportunities to drive true business growth. And it's a mouthful, but really, what I want everyone to get out of this is that it's a mindset. It's a mindset we're always trying to beat and grow. So there are really 6 big pillars of growth hacking. There's people, tools, testable ideas, agility, data, and failure. So people, you obviously need to have the right people with the right skill set and mindset to help you execute whatever idea you're doing. You need to make sure you enable those people with the right tools to actually do growth hacking or to test your ideas. And in order to test ideas, you actually need those ideas in the first place. So you always want to have a big backlog of various ideas and things you want to do to potentially test. Second, or fourthly, you want to have the agility. And what I mean by this is that things are going to change in your business by the time you come up with the idea to by the time you execute it, things change. And you want to make sure you have the flexibility and agility to move around quickly with little resources, because in the startup world or any type of environment, you're going to need to move fast. Fifth thing you need is data, and making sure you're tracking everything, making sure you have the right information to make those educated decisions. And the last piece is very, very important. It's failure. Be prepared to fail. And failure doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world. It doesn't mean your company goes under. Failure is a natural part of growth hacking. If you're not failing, you're not going fast enough. You're missing out on opportunities. And from my experience, 50 to 60% of the time, you're going to fail. And that's okay. You just need to be aware of that. Now, what makes a good growth hacker? They need to be data-driven, obsessed with data rather, resilient. Growth hacker, as a growth hacker or as someone who's going to be doing growth hacking, you're going to fail. You need to have that tenacity. You need to have the know-how or the ability to pick yourself back up again once you fall and keep going. You need to be patient, because you need, as you're doing tests or as you're queuing up development, you need to wait. Things are going to take time. Although you want to move really, really fast, some parts you just can't make go faster. So you need to have that patience. You also want to be curious. You always want to question what's happening, why it's happening, what can you do better, and always just have that curious mindset. And with that comes creativity. You want to be creative as well as looking at problems in a different way. I think curiosity and creativity go hand in hand. Growth obsessed is another big one. What I mean is you want to be always looking at what other things you can do to grow. And that really, this one obsession is what makes a true growth hacker, more than a marketer or more than someone who is marketing focused. This person, when you're growth obsessed, you're always looking for wins, win after win after win. And when you get one, you're thinking, great, let's move on to the next one. And lastly, you want to be nimble. Things are never going to go the way you planned it. You're going to need to move with less resources than you have. You probably need to move way faster than the time you have allotted. You're going to work way harder, and at the end of the day, you need to be able to be agile and move around quickly, and being nimble is very, very important. Now, a big part of what makes a good growth hacker is really being a T-shaped marketer, understanding the base layer of statistics, understanding development and analytics, branding and UX, not necessarily having to have a very strong depth in it, but you need to be able to speak the language and work with those individuals. You need to have a marketing foundation layer, such as A/B testing, Photoshop, being able to manipulate or work your way around Excel, write copy, and understand the marketing funnel. Then you want to have the channel expertise, things like SEO, Facebook ads, PPC, content marketing, maybe it's social media sales, and at the end of the day, have a depth in either PPC or SEO, as that is a very big part of what makes a great marketer. Now, these are not necessarily the only things you need to have, but these are what makes a great, well-rounded marketer, and what makes you be a great, have the potential to be a great growth hacker. So, I want to talk to you about a few steps to build growth into your team, and to really build a team of advocates, and get all of your company to think about growth, because growth is not just marketing, it's sales, it's customer support, it's so many more things. So what I recommend is you recruit one member from each department to really think about growth, and growth in terms of acquisition, in terms of activation, retention, referral, and revenue, and so on. The funnel keeps going, but you want to have each person from each department, one person from each department, be involved in those areas. And you want to make sure everybody understands it, whether they contribute to it or not. And when I say it, I mean the funnel. And just start to introduce the vocabulary into the company. Eventually, things will actually start to move. The next step, once you have that, is you need to make room in your budget for tools. Tools will help you move faster and enable your team to move effectively, or to get things done without having to rebuild things or reinvent the wheel. Companies like Optimizely or HelloBar can help you A/B test landing pages and collect emails without having to really go too in depth with development. So make sure you have a few tools in your war chest, as well as just budget for them. The next thing is you want to make sure you're ready to go before things are perfect. If you wait around for things to be perfect, you're going to be waiting a long, long time. Things are never going to be perfect, and that's okay, as long as they're good enough. That doesn't mean to release things that have bugs, or to kind of half-ass things. You want to make sure you release things that are stable, but the idea is executed as lean as possible, so you can validate it and then move on, and move on to the next one, and then go in depth when an idea works, and you can go way deeper and make things better. The next thing is testing and measuring. You want to make sure you have everything you need to test, whether if you need GA, analytics, or you need segment or mixed panel, Kissmetrics, whatever tools, Hotjar, whatever tools you need to make sure you have them in place, and you know what you're going to measure before you even get started. Because if you don't know what you're going to measure and you're going to figure it out on the spot, you're probably going to measure the wrong thing, or take too long to conduct the test. And one thing that's very, very important, and I think companies like Buffer do a great job at this, is a culture of transparency. What that means is everybody at the company has growth in their heads. They're thinking about this from all perspectives. They have access to the same information, like revenue or traffic and things like that, so they can keep track and understand what you're talking about. When you build this into your organization, everybody's going to start to think about growth and how they can contribute, whether they're sales or they're janitor. To be honest, when somebody sees numbers and they continue to go up in a group effort, and then transparency around what's happened, it's contagious. And as I said many times before, be prepared for failure. You're not going to win every time. 50 to 60% of what you do is going to fail, and that's okay. Be prepared to roll back. Be prepared when you even launch something to roll out as lean as possible so you don't waste too much time on a failed idea. Now, let's jump into it. How do you work with other departments on growth hacking? So you have this idea and you want to work with other departments. First and foremost, as I mentioned earlier, growth hacking is not a one-person thing. It's a multiple team. It's a team effort. Multiple skill sets are required, particularly sales. The best way to work with sales is to come up with compelling upsells, early upgrades, exit intents. There's so many different ways you can work with the sales team. But think of marketing, usually who's running the growth, or product who's running the growth, as figuring out where they can add sales enablement and where they can get the sales team involved to best facilitate growth. The product team. So you can work with the product team in many, many different ways. Typically, the product team is a very mixed into growth. They're either leading the show or working very closely with marketing. The product team can do so much, such as gamify the onboarding. They can help increase the engagement, the activation, engagement, and retention of your users. Simple things like progress bars or helpful wizards to get somebody signed up to your process, or how to optimize your checkout process. That's something you need the product team to architect or lay out before the development team gets in it. And I bet you didn't think this was going to be on here. Customer support. In fact, customer support is my favorite group to work with to do growth hacks, because they're talking to your customers. They're hearing their complaints. They're hearing what they love about you, and they're hearing so many other things. They're the people that are on the front lines, just like the sales people. You can do things like, once you've got a customer, it's the customer support or success teams to help them continue to be a customer or to sell them on something else. So these teams can help you turn your customers into happy customers, execute NPS surveys. We've done things like free swag packages, such as giving t-shirts away or even handwritten thank you cards. This team can help you understand and communicate with the customers you already have and implement or execute some of these ideas, such as NPS surveys. Customer success, typically for larger organizations or larger deal sizes, but if you have a customer success, this is the best way to get them to refer. This is the best group to get your customers to refer new business or execute, giveaways, or really, again, turning your customers into happy customers, and turning your happy customers into advocates, and turning your advocates into brand ambassadors or your referral network. And by giving value first, you can get a lot on the end. Development. I don't need to say much here. You can't really get much without the development team. You need them to execute pretty much everything you do. Tools can help you, but the development team is going to be the one that's executing. Now, for the fun stuff. I'm going to go through 15 growth hacks you can do today. Not necessarily that are best for your company, but if you check it out and you like what you hear, there's more in my ebook. So first and foremost, free t-shirts. One of the things I did at Single Grain, my previous agencies, we gave away t-shirts to all of our customers. And what we ended up doing is we're getting all of our customers wearing our t-shirts, and we used something like startup threads to where they can host a landing page and submit their t-shirt request, and startup threads will automatically bill you and send them a t-shirt. If you want to start low tech, you can even use a Google form. It's very, very easy. I like to create a landing page so it looks like a great experience, but it works really, really well. At Single Grain, we almost generated $1 million. We generated almost $1 million. I think it's $980,000 at the end of new client business because people wore our t-shirts. Because we gave our clients t-shirts, we gave our friends and our network t-shirts, and they wore them around their meetings and things like that, which generated a lot of business. Now, people are always struggling. Tip number 2, people are always struggling with press. Haro, help a reporter out, and there's other equivalents for your country. Just look for Haro Alternative and your country name. But you can essentially sign up for their list and respond if you are qualified to answer that question. but there's people and reporters consistently asking for help for either rounding out a story, getting information to fill a story, and you can use sites like BuzzSumo to check out what your competitors are doing and or the value of the site they then post on. But the great thing about Hero is it comes to you and you can choose to respond to it. This is something, if you're an early stage startup or don't have PR just yet, this is something you can do, 10 to 15 minutes a day and get at least a few wins a month. The next thing is an education email series. Too many people focus on selling their products or services and not enough on education. By simply educating your audience, whether they're your customer or not, you can make them a better customer, but also ensure trust and eventually build your authority to where they will buy. So instead of focusing on selling, focus on educating your customer base because an educated customer builds your trust and eventually will purchase from you. Now this is a very interesting one, handwritten thank you card. At oneiwork.com, we've done this many, many times. Every single customer that signs up, we actually write a handwritten thank you card and draw the customer's logo on the thank you card. And what that does is gets people to share it, but you're building gratitude, you're turning your customers into happy customers, and you're starting the relationship off right. Now, if you don't want to do it manually yourself with interns or entry-level staff, you can use companies like MailLift or HandyMail to do this for you. You send them their address and their name, and they'll take care of the rest. It's a great way, specifically for software businesses or services, high contract value, to keep your customers very, very happy and to start the relationship off right. Now, one big quick win here for your landing page is the social proof confidence booster. What this means is you're adding social proof to your landing page to make sure people know they're not the first one buying this. People have bought this before. It could be as simple as one header that says, hey, joined more than 1.5 million people who blah, blah, blah. But what you're doing at the end of the day is you're giving your customers, you're showing your customers that they're not the first one. On the web, it's so easy to get lost with all the solutions out there, all the competitors, all the potential things somebody can do. And it's really lonely when you go to a website and you don't really know that there's activity. When you add social proof, it makes you feel like other people have done it too, and it reduces the friction. Another thing you can do to reduce the friction, and this is tip number 6 if you're keeping along or tracking, is to give or create a free tool that helps that customer and eventually could convert them. So at oneiwork.com, where I've served as the VP of Growth for the past 2 years, we implemented a scheduling template. So instead of selling our software, we're giving a template away for free. HubSpot is notorious for doing checklists and templates and what their website created, they did a great job. But what I'm getting at is, why not help your customer do their job for free using any type of tool? And it's just like it does with education. It builds their trust, and they'll come back to you. Templates, I prefer to use any type of Excel, Doc, or you can even use Google Apps or Google Doc to do this. And MailChimp for delivery. Now, one of my favorite examples of a very, very easy win, and I feel like most people don't do a great job at this, is a personalized call to action. Your call to action being personalized will definitely increase your conversion rate because it makes it makes a customer or potential customer feel like you're talking to them and the specific action is geared just towards them. So this example, Uber, want to drive for Uber, become a driver. It's not saying getting started, apply now. It's saying become a driver. That's the action that people want to take on this specific page. Now you can test that with some tools like Website Optimizer, Optimizely, or any type of thing. I even test it with my email code, opt-ins. Sign me up or get smarter or looking at the outcome instead of focusing on just sign up or enter because that's boring. It's been done to death. So surprise first, ask second is another great way, and I call it this is a growth hack for securing guest posts or really just building relationships. What I suggest is if you want to go get guest posts or you want to leverage content marketing in any way, what you can do is you want to mention the person or include the person you're reaching out to in an article you wrote or are writing and let them know that you've mentioned them. Hence the surprise. You give something away. In this particular case, I mentioned them in my Marketing 2014 post, and I also then, secondly, asked for a guest post opportunity, and I even told them I have a great idea for the post. You can use my company, Content Marketer IO, to reach out to them, or you can simply send them via Gmail or email, any type of thing. It's very simple. But the great thing about this approach is that you start by giving away value. You're giving something, and then you ask for something later. The promise, not the feature headline. Most companies focus on what your company does, not what me, the consumer, needs help with. Focus on what your consumer needs help with, and you're going to guarantee an increase in conversion rate. I would A/B test this, but honestly, I know it's going to work so well that you should just do it, because people don't come to you because they want your help or they want to buy your solution. People come to your website because they have a problem, or they're looking for a solution because they have a problem. People buy because they have a problem. They don't buy because of a feature. So sell them on how they can solve their problems. Now, getting right to the point, I feel there's been trends for years around landing page length, long landing pages, short. Right now, short works better. It's straight to the point. There's very little distraction, and it gets people to convert. I suggest you A/B test it, as it could very well work for you. This is another great tip. FOMO, the fear of missing out. No one wants to miss out on the best offer or this limited time offer, or if your friends are doing it. So you can use social proof or time-based offers to implement FOMO. And at the end of the day, you want to have your copy point out the fact that you're going to miss out if you don't buy it. And it will appeal to especially the millennial generation who wants to be involved and buy because their friends are buying. It's a part of the decision making. So definitely test out or think about testing this trick out. Adding live chat during the checkout. This is one thing when people are going and entering their credit card information, this is the time the trust of your company, the brand, and the social proof, as well as everything, all these things come into question. So if you can be there for support, this will dramatically improve the conversion rate. And whether it does or not, I think it's a valid thing to A/B test, especially if you're an e-commerce website. Progress bar. LinkedIn is my favorite example. These guys did a great job. This is not the exact screenshot here, but LinkedIn, how many times have you gone to LinkedIn and it says 80% profile filled? You're going to constantly go to the next level. The trick here is start already, progress there, make it 3 to 4 to 5 steps, and show people clearly how much effort they have to do. Not only does this show people how much they have to do, it shows people how much they've already done and prevent them from abandoning the onboarding process or whatever information you're trying to ask for. Now, as you get to onboarding, I think about the onboarding email that you send out. The very first thing, I find that asking for 1, 2, and 3 things, just simply 3 things they should do, in order of easy to hardest, it works really, really well. You get people to fill out the task or fill out the information, and 3 things in one. And you ask it immediately, and as you can see, it goes from uploading a profile to something a little harder where you have to figure out your banner on your header, and then a short bio. Like, if you start with a short bio, you might not get it. The Net Promoter Score. Now, this one is one of my absolute favorites. It helps turn your customers into promoters. You can use tools like Promoter.io or Qualaroo to ask an NPS rating to your customers. Anyone that answers 0 through 8, you send them an email that says, sorry about your bad experience. What can we do to help? Any 9s and 10s, your promoters, you ask them to share it. A company called WooTrip is a great job at this. What they do is if you answer 9 and 10, they prompt you with social share buttons. So it's a great way to get your already happy customers to simply share your product. Now, how to get started. Now I've gone through all these tips, and you're probably wondering, how do I get started? Let me go back to this. The way to get started is just do it. It's very, very, very simple. You can overthink this. You can plan all day long, or you can get very practical and start executing and let the answers drive. Obviously, you can download my book, my ebook. If you use the code Growth Bundle, you can get it for $1, no $27. Pick 2 to 3 tactics. Figure out your goal and hypothesize what you want to get done, and then get it going. Make sure you have all your tracking in place, and you know what you're going to track and looking to improve, and start A/B testing and go at it. It's very simple. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet at me or email me. Thanks for listening.